Warlocks are the scholars of the Destiny universe. They devote their lives to studying the Traveler and uncovering its seemingly endless well of secrets. While most of us have come to appreciate the Traveler as our kind-hearted protector, a benevolent creature that would wish no harm on anyone or anything, the Warlocks know the truth. The Traveler isn't afraid to use light to destroy anything that would stand in its way, and neither are we. The Attunement of Fission is a high-octane damage dealer that takes elements from the Voidwalker's Attunement of Chaos and Hunger and mashes them together to make a more balanced subclass. In doing so, it sacrifices the unadulterated power of Chaos and the unlimited sustain provided by Hunger, but the middle ground is something impressive, and in some ways edges out its competition. This subclass branch has a lot of nuance, so it's time to get started with the overview. First and foremost, if you were expecting something overpowered, you'll have to look somewhere else. Unfortunately, this subclass branch won't make you feel like a god, but it will provide you with a good mix of damage and support for your team. The main ability for this attunement is incidentally the last one you unlock. Dark Matter causes void ability kills to grant health and melee, grenade, and class ability energy. This passive provides more energy based on how many targets you kill in rapid succession with your abilities. The main thing to keep in mind is that this provides you with class ability energy in addition to melee and grenade. So unlike the original two Voidwalker attunements, you can support your team with a lot of rifts while you're dishing out damage. So whether you like playing close quarters or long range, before you start using your grenades and melee, place down a rift, then go slap some guys and throw some grenades at them and your rift will be ready for the next encounter. If you leverage Dark Matter perfectly, you'll have very few moments of downtime on any of your abilities, and when that happens, this attunement starts to shine. The next two abilities are derivations of abilities we've seen in the Attunement of Chaos. While they aren't nearly as destructive, they help to facilitate the Dark Matter perk. Your melee ability is called Atomic Breach. Your melee has extended range, and after slapping someone, they explode, dealing damage to all nearby enemies. The explosion created isn't that powerful, but if your power level is on par with your enemies, it will one-shot most red bars without much trouble. There's nothing fancy here, just try to get multiple targets caught in the blast to get the most out of Dark Matter. Handheld Supernova is the final ability before the super, and this one is interesting. This ability allows you to charge your grenades to transform them into a horizontal projectile spread that damages enemies in a cone in front of you. In its current form, charging grenades into a supernova will make them deal less damage than their uncharged counterparts by a decent margin. However, the charged grenades make up for their lacking damage with ease of use. The Vortex Grenade is your most powerful option, but it deals its damage over time. Often, mobile bosses will walk out of its radius and reduce its maximum damage output. In that situation, a supernova would be better. The scatter grenade is significantly easier to land in all situations, but with that in mind, the scatter grenade does a lot less damage than the vortex, but not considerably more than the supernova. If you always have a vortex grenade equipped, you've got the best of both worlds. You can throw the vortex when you're fighting a slow, clunky boss and use your supernova on everything else. Up to this point, the elements that make up the Attunement of Fission's kit have been a bit lackluster in that they aren't objectively stronger than the options available on the other two Voidwalker attunements. However, the Super is completely different and has some powerful elements to it that aren't listed in the in-game tooltips. First, activating the Nova Warp Super resets all your cooldowns, so when possible, chuck out a grenade and place a rift by your teammates before entering Nova Warp. Second, just like the other roaming supers in the game, you can use your abilities while it's active. This means you can throw grenades and summon more rifts while you're running around causing explosions. Though you yourself won't need to take advantage of the rift's effects, your teammates can rally behind you as you're pushing forward in battle. If you're using Nova Warp to clear ads, there's a good chance you'll be able to plop down at least one additional rift while you're in the super because of Dark Matter, and you'll certainly be able to throw an additional grenade. Finally, upon exiting Nova Warp, your cooldowns are reset again, so when you return to your neutral state, you've got all your tools ready so you can start chaining again. While you're in your super, there are also things you can do to improve how you dish out your damage. Your main attack causes a void explosion around your character, and that explosion can be charged to deal increased damage. From my testing, I've gotten a maximum of 12 small pulses or 9 fully charged large pulses, though I've most consistently gotten 7 or 8 large pulses and 1 small pulse for the last bit of super energy. Also, I've been able to reliably throw a grenade during the super and still have enough energy for the full 7 to 8 large pulses. So in an optimal scenario, you're looking at throwing 3 grenades and hitting 8 pulses on a single enemy. Positioning and movement is something else that's vitally important for this super. I'd wholeheartedly recommend always using Blink as your jumping ability for this branch because it allows you to traverse large distances quickly. While the Nova Warp super comes with its own built-in blink that can make you move incredibly fast, it costs super energy to use, and ideally you'd like to spend the bulk of your super energy blowing things up and not teleporting around. Overall, we've got our hands on a strong subclass, but in a similar vein to the Striker Titan's Code of the Missile, it benefits very heavily from an optimized loadout. For armor mods, there are a few good options. Super mods will allow you to get into your Nova Warp state as often as possible, and when paired with armor perks like Pump Action, Light Reactor, or Remote Connection that grant super energy for kills with specific weapons, you'll be spamming Nova Warp constantly. Another option would be full grenade cooldown reduction, which will help you spam grenades to fuel your melee and class ability. For exotic armor, Nezarec Sin is the obvious choice here because it increases your ability regeneration rate when you kill enemies with void damage, and increases your super recharge rate. However, if you want to double down on the hybrid support damage dealer role that this attunement excels at, Verity's Brow is a super underrated exotic helmet. Energy weapon kills speed up the grenade recharge rate for you and your allies. And to wrap things up, the Attunement of Fission is probably not the God mode Warlock you were looking for, but it still feels incredibly powerful if you use it correctly. It's a cross between the original two Voidwalker attunements with a bit more focus on support, so while you're slaying enemies with void abilities, make sure to place down rifts to get the maximum benefit of dark matter. This attunement will also feel underwhelming if you don't have a solid set of mods or the right exotic equipment to go with it. It's worth finding them before tackling tough content with this branch. Stacking super cooldown reduction mods or grenade cooldown reduction mods are ideal. The Nezarec Sin is the best exotic armor if you want more offensive power, and the Verity's Brow is great for a hybrid support damage dealer playstyle. Finally, a mid to long range loadout with auto rifles, pulse rifles, and fusion rifles will keep you far enough away from the fight that you won't get slaughtered, but close enough to take advantage of your melee ability and grenades. And there we go, that's going to do it for our Attunement of Fission overview. I think this subclass branch is going to be underrated for a long time because it really starts to shine when you have the perfect combination of exotics, weapons, and mods and perks on your armor. With all of that said, I'm having a lot of fun with it and I would definitely recommend trying it. On that note though, we're going to wrap it up here by saying the name of the game is Destiny 2. The name of the channel is iBluairJgR. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Let me know if you've been enjoying the Attunement of Fission or if you just feel like it's a waste of time. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.